a scholar stood at the edge of a well. He had memorized thousands of verses. He could debate theology from sunrise to sunset. And then a wandering stranger asked him one question, and everything he thought he knew fell into the water. That scholar was Rumi. And after that encounter, he stopped writing arguments. He started writing fire. The Sufi tradition has always held that knowledge and wisdom are not the same river. You can fill a vessel with facts and still be empty. The Bhagavad Gita echoes this precisely. Krishna tells Arjuna that true understanding is not accumulated like grain in a storehouse. It is revealed like light through a crack in a wall. The Sanskrit word jnana points not to information but to direct seeing. Buddhism calls it prajna, wisdom that arises not from reading but from being cracked open. Every tradition seems to agree. The deepest knowing cannot be taught. It can only be awakened. And sometimes awakening arrives wearing a stranger's face. Rumi was already extraordinary before the stranger came. A respected theologian, a teacher with thousands of students, a man who had inherited his father's spiritual lineage and carried it with grace. By any measure, his life was complete. Then, one day, a wandering mystic named Shams arrived. Shams was not polished. He was not interested in impressing anyone. He asked questions that had no comfortable answers. He challenged Rumi not with arguments, but with presence. The kind of presence that makes you feel for the first time that you have been sleepwalking. The two became inseparable. Students grew jealous. The world around them grew suspicious of this strange, consuming friendship. And then Shams vanished, as suddenly as he had appeared. Rumi was devastated. He searched, he grieved. And in that grief, something extraordinary happened. The scholar dissolved. The poet emerged. The loss of Shams did not break Rumi. It broke him open. He began pouring out verse after verse, not as a theologian explaining God, but as a lover aching for the beloved. The wound became the well. The first lesson is this. Sometimes the most important teacher in your life will not look like a teacher at all. They will arrive without credentials, without comfort. And they will ask the one question you have been carefully avoiding. We spend years building walls of expertise, of identity, of certainty. And we call it growth. But there is a difference between a tree that has grown tall and a tree that has grown roots. Shams did not add to Rumi. He dug deeper. The second lesson is about loss. We are taught to protect ourselves from it. But Rumi's story suggests something harder and truer, that certain losses are not obstacles to the life we were meant to live. They are the path itself. The reed flute, Rumi's own image, makes music only because it has been cut from the reed bed. The separation is not the tragedy. The separation is the instrument. And the third, transformation is really comfortable, and it really announces itself. It arrives as disruption, as confusion, as the feeling that the ground has shifted beneath you. That feeling is not a warning. It is an invitation. Here is a practice to carry into your week. Think of one relationship in your life, past or present, that unsettled you. Not a harmful one, but one that challenged you, that asked more of you than you were ready to give, that left you different than it found you. Sit with it quietly. Not to analyze it, but to ask, what did that encounter reveal about me that I could not have seen alone? The Sufi teachers call this the sohbet. the sacred conversation. Not every exchange of words, but the rare meeting where two people strike something true in each other, like flint on stone. You do not need to find your shams. You need only to stop dismissing the people who unsettle you and start listening to what the unsettling is trying to say. Rumi once wrote that the guest house of the human heart should welcome every visitor. Joy, sorrow, the sudden stranger who sweeps the house clean. Not because it is easy, but because each one has been sent as a guide. The scholar in Rumi needed to burn, not his knowledge, but his attachment to it. What emerged from those ashes was not less than what came before. It was immeasurably more. You too carry something that is waiting to be transformed, not destroyed, transformed. And perhaps the first step is simply this: staying open to the stranger at the door. Subscribe to LifeVeda for daily wisdom that transforms your life.